Hello? Is this thing on? Had to dust off the YouTube channel, man. How are we doing? Usually the baseball streams don't pull a bunch of numbers anyway, but we had to get back on the airwaves. A little baby slate tonight for baseball, so I figured it's a good chance to hop on, hit that live switch, chop it up with you guys, catch up with some of you guys who haven't been able to catch up in a while. And then, chop up a little bit of baseball. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this double dip baseball, basketball at the same time. I don't know if enjoyment is the word for me. I haven't very much thoroughly enjoyed baseball, but basketball has been quite the chore day to day. But help is on the way. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. The playoffs a week away. I believe Sunday is the last day of the regular season. What a day that will be. And then we're back to having some fun hopefully watching the NBA product and not having to play a lot of these backup guys and just breaking lineups every night. So a lot of fun stuff to watch for basketball down the stretch. I love watching Russell Westbrook play basketball, and he's been putting on some beautiful games lately, but we're here for basketball. We're here for baseball. But if you guys want to talk about some basketball too, here it's kind of a laid-back episode. Just a few games on baseball tonight. Had cores get postponed, so we're left with 5 games. It will be an early lock, 6:35 p.m. Eastern. So be cognitive of that if you're taking notes. That it's not the normal 7 p.m. lock or 6 p.m. lock, what have you. Oh, by the way, what time does this Top Shot drop? Maybe I don't think that's till 4 my time. Let me double check that. Let's kill the music, man. What's up, chat? How we doing? What's up, dang lazy mofo? Imagine streaming on your own channel for once. It's been a minute. What's up, Solid Picks? Remember when the Awesome host tried to do the Ur and it sounded hecka weak? Man, the Ur is kind of taking over. It's kind of my calling card over. I just do it because it's just what we do. But a lot of people have grown to associate that with me, and I guess I just got to go with it, right? If you get a catchphrase that kind of organically develops and catches on, you just got to ride the wave. 2 p.m. Pacific. What is that? 4 Central? So we should be vibing. 4 p.m. Central. Okay, so I don't have to worry about Top Shot. But yeah, if organic stuff takes off, go for it. But yeah, we've had some fun with it. Got a couple. I just need to start clipping everyone that says you're and create a highlight reel for Twitter. What's up, Bryce? You're in Twitter jail? How? What's up, Jim? Your pitching is crap on. Yeah, pitching's not great. What up, Ray? Hunter Renfroe or Eddie Rosario? Let's see. Renfroe, I got projected in the 7th spot. Rosario is not playing. Isn't he on the Indians? Indians don't play today. Or is this like a season-long question? For season-long, I'd probably go Eddie, but that's a coin flip. Chat, you know what this is on the screen here? This is rundfs.com, man. If you guys ever want to hang out with me, even when I'm not on the air, if I go a week at a time without having to do a live stream, I promise you, we're still here grinding every day. So if you want to come hang out in the premium section, go to rundfs.com, make yourself an account, get signed up. We have a 24/7 premium Discord. Also have a free gaming Discord. Any of you guys playing like MLB The Show? A lot of night shifts there. We're just hanging out, grinding, playing each other. You can jump in that one for free. But if you guys want in the DFS Discord, go to rundfs.com, make yourself an account, get signed up. You also unlock access to the VIP spreadsheets, namely the MLB spreadsheet, which is my baby, which I still think I don't know that there's another research aid quite like this one out there. So if you guys want to expedite your daily research unlock access to this, unlock access to the bomb detector, the pitch report, all that good stuff. Go to rundfs.com. Try the week pass. A little life hack right now. We did drop the All-Star pass to just $100. So instead of getting the month pass for 80, you probably want to spend that extra 20 to get the All-Star break pass to 100. So that's gonna encapsulate the rest of basketball, like the playoffs. Usually about the first week, maybe, or excuse me, the first round, or maybe into the second round this year, is when we really grind the playoffs. But you also get daily access to baseball during that time frame. That's until the All-Star break in July. So pretty good deal, I think, for an extra $20. What up, Jay? What up, Dave? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you guys treated your mamas well yesterday. I didn't get to see mine, but did leave her a solid Facebook Facebook comment, right? We're boomers, zoomers. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So we don't have any confirmed lineups yet, which is fine, but we're going to get cranked up game by game here. Like I said, laid back stream. If you guys got questions or 1v1s or anything that's not related to baseball, like it's whatever, man. Just drop it at me and we'll get cranked up. Good little strategy. A good day to kind of reevaluate strategy approaches and stuff like that. Also thought about, I don't know if any of you guys interested in learning more about developing spreadsheets for different causes. I thought about a little series here on the channel, just creating certain types of spreadsheets. So I'm going to be creating a new strikeout model, like a prediction model. I thought about making a video about the process on that, and then also just teaching you guys how to maybe do a bankroll tracker, stuff like that. Lineup distribution spreadsheet. I made one of those the other day, because usually I'll just pick my favorite 5-8 teams and just kind of stack them evenly, but I've kind of evolved a little bit to be a little bit more in line with leveraging the field. So if I I don't know, a Giants stack, I don't need to be at 25% to still be profitable, right? If the field is at 5%. So I've created a spreadsheet to where if I'm running 150 lines, I punch in 150, and when I type in my percentages, it'll spit back how many lines I need to dedicate. So simple stuff like that, could do a video series about how to create spreadsheets on that. So I'd be game for that, but I don't know if there's a demand for it. Anyway, let's chop up the slate. Game number 1, 6:35 p.m. Eastern is the first pitch for this one. It is about 30 minutes earlier than usual. It is the Reds. It is the Pirates, and it's Tyler Mahle versus Mitch Keller. Mahle is 8,900 on FanDuel, 9,400 on DraftKings. Keller 7K on FanDuel, 68 on DraftKings. Pitching wise and offensively, the Pirates have been really, really underwhelming offensively. They have virtually no power. Just one guy in the lineup that slugs over 430, and that's Brian Reynolds. Usually at 500 is kind of the magic number for me. The Reds do have a little bit more of a power-friendly team, but I do prefer them in the cozy confines of Great American Ballpark. Pitching-wise, Tyler Mahle has been pitching maybe above and beyond expectations. I was calling for regression before that Cubs game, and it kind of surfaced a little bit, but we'll dive into that game in just a second. But overall, his advanced metrics still speak pretty well, all things considered, especially considering the fact there's a very, very short slate with a shallow supply of viable pitching. So a 3.23 Sierra is actually perfectly in line with his ERA, and a 3.56 xFIP, but nearly a over 12% swing and strike rate. So considering the names on the slate, this is not a bad start going against a powerless Pirates team. Adam Frazier, Newman don't strike out quite a bit, but the rest of this projected lineup will strike out 1 and 5. So it gives us a solid look. Another thing I would like to pay attention to here is ground ball rate against a below average strikeout team, 41% ground ball rate so far this year to lefties, and a 39% ground ball rate to righties. So not elite. We would love to see like 50%, but it's still it's not like 30%. Let's go pull up that game against the Cubs, because I was very much so on the Cubs that game, because I do feel like Male isn't this elite. I do feel like maybe strength of schedule went his way, but we'll go pull up the game logs, and then let's go look at advanced. Actually, standard. No. Which one? There we go. Batted ball. So he really left that Cubs game with a 3.56 xFIP and a 3.52 Sierra. So I guess you could argue that he got unlucky, a 28% infield fly ball rate. But still, the Cubs managed to put up a strong day. So every game outside of this Dodgers game, which Dodgers are the Dodgers, he really held his own in terms of xFIP and advanced expectations. So I guess Male has to be somebody that we consider early on, unless this Pirates lineup came out with some surprise, and I don't really think that's possible. This is a very, very weak, it's the least powerful lineup on the slate. So got to introduce Male into the player pool. Mitch Keller, his Sierra, his xFIP, his swing and strike rate, everything really, really bad. This is not somebody that has any underlying metrics that make me want to play him. A 5.1 Sierra, 5.03 xFIP, swing and strike rate under 10%. He's a contact pitcher with a high whip, high walk rate, 24 innings of sample size. So we have more sample size so far this season on him than we did last year. So the Reds will be a team that I probably look to. Just a 4.2 implied run total, but I don't, like on a 4 or 5 game slate, I don't think I'm going to over analyze the run total. We're just going to play guys against bad pitchers, and I think the Reds profile pretty well against righties. Mitch Keller's allowing a 1.5 home run per 9. I do think that might be a little bit elevated, considering it's just a 28% hard contact rate and an under 40% fly ball rate, but the line drive rate is extremely elevated, and high walk rates allowed. So this might be a slate where homers end up not being king anyway, and we just get a couple OBP guys and a couple guys that hit a pair of RBI doubles. So Jesse Winker profiles pretty well if I want to take advantage of this near 300 average allowed to lefties. High line drive rate, Winker, a very high barrel rate. Slugging 566, we love that. Castellanos I can mix in there. 5.6 on Castellanos. I'm not going to let price really push me off of players on this slate. If I can fit them, I can fit them. Raw points is raw points at the end of the day, and value is subjective today more so than ever, because 14 fantasy points at 5.6 is probably still good enough to dance at the top of a tournament. So I do like the red stack here. I'm probably going to be down on the Pirates. I'm going to be on Male, and that's all I got to say about that. Let's get caught up here. Male versus the Pirates. Lock it in. Glenn, what website would one use if they want to know how a whole team does against a certain pitch, like this team is a good fastball hitting team? So that is an amazing question. To plug the spreadsheet, it is something I have coded into the spreadsheet. We use the pitch report. So the pitch report is something I designed to retrieve that exact information. It's going to retrieve, since the beginning of last year, the pitch mix and average velocity and weighted on a curve value of a pitch. I don't think curve, basically being a linear scale here in terms of the pitch value for the pitcher, where 0 is the average and above 0 means that pitch from that pitcher is above average and below, and essentially it's kind of like a runs created metric. So we have that in the spreadsheet. So for instance, Mitch Keller, almost 57% fastball usage at 94.3 average velocity, slider 21%, 83. So what we'll do is we'll list all the pitchers, the pitch type, the value of the pitch, and then I have the opposing team listed below and how they've graded out against that type of pitch since the beginning of last year. Now, this is not end all be all, because I want to say no two fastballs are created equal, but because of spin rate, because of velocity, movement, stuff like that, it's not fair to compare like a Mitch Keller fastball to like a Aroldis Chapman fastball, right? So you have to take it with context. But if you are just kind of looking to be in the ballpark, this is what I've created to do that. For a no money spent way to do it, you could go to Fangraphs, and like we have Tyler Mahle's card open right now. You would go to his pitch type, and this will give you the average fastball velocity and usage. So he's been at about 50%. It's pretty much in line with what we have. And then you can go to pitch value to see how that pitch has performed. So his fastball has been negative. His slider's been negative this year. This is Tyler Mahle. And then to cross-reference that, I guess you would probably bring up... how would we retrieve it from the team? We'd probably go to leaders, batting. And since he's going against the Pirates, we would select the Pirates here. We might go for a little ride here because I'm not. Yeah, I think this is right. All right, then we go to Pirates, and then we would go to pitch value. So this is how the hitters would do against that pitch type. I like to pull from the beginning of last year just to give me more sample size. More sample size, the better. To kind of normalize. So if I were to use this, I would bring this down to 2020. Submit, and that'll bring me back to the beginning of last year. And then there's only 5 qualified. If you wanted to just see the whole team, you'd probably bring this down to like 10, 20. But that's the free way to do it. All right, the pitcher card pitch value, and then the team pitch value. Right. That's good though. That's a good question. I love that you're trying to look that up. Red Sox at the Orioles. Next game on the docket. Martin Perez taking on Jorge Lopez. Red Sox with a 4.9 implied run total. I got to imagine the Red Sox are going to be the most popular stack on the slate. They're usually one of the more popular teams every day anyway. Martin Perez against Jorge Lopez. Martin Perez, a pure contact lefty. Sierra at 4.36, of xFIP at 4.5. And just an 8.5% swing and strike rate. That is a 3-year low so far. So it's going to be a pure contact pitcher. He did end up being a good play against a team like the Rangers not too many games ago. But that's probably more of an outlier, anomalic range of outcome versus the average outcome. So I don't have immediate desire to play Martin Perez because of how shallow the pitching pool is today. Maybe Martin Perez makes the pool in like 100, 150 lineups and I cap him at 10%. But just in terms of the metrics I typically try to hunt for a pitcher, which is strikeouts and Sierras and xFIP under 4, he does not possess that. So not going to be a guy that I want early on. And it would only make a mix at the end of the day if I needed to diversify pitching in a mass entry amount of lineups, right? Jorge Lopez, same thing. 4.42 at Sierra, 4.38 xFIP. The swing strike rate is nearly 11%. So he's basically the right-handed Martin Perez in this one with a higher swing and strike rate. And the ground ball rates are somewhat similar. Jorge Lopez does have a higher ground ball rate. What I would be cautious about with the ground ball rate is sometimes that can play spoiler and ruin a stack, but Lopez has not allowed that to eliminate him from being someone we target. Over 2 home run per 9 against lefties on the sample size for the last 3 seasons. And so far this year against righties in over 2. He's not allowing a ton of hard contact to righties, so maybe this is a spot where we really dial in on like a Alex Verdugo, Rafael Devers, somebody like that to take advantage of those splits. But if we don't expect Lopez to stick around for long, maybe we dip into that Orioles bullpen. I'm probably not going to split hairs in mass entry here, even though like Xander Bogaerts or JD Martinez maybe doesn't metrically sound off against the hard contact and the ground ball rate of Jorge Lopez as a starting matchup. I still got to go with the stack here and trust that the skill is going to outweigh the bad contact pitcher and get into that bullpen on the short slate. So Red Sox stack is likely going to be the highest owned, likely. I haven't looked at ownership projections. That's just kind of gut feeling. And I got no pushback. Marwin Gonzalez may lead off. We've seen in the absence of Kike Hernandez, we've seen Marwin lead off, and we've seen they had that call up or that prospect leadoff the other day. I don't see him in this projected lineup, so maybe it is going to be Marwin against a righty. I don't really have anybody that I wouldn't play on the Red Sox, but if I had to start ranking some guys early for like single entry or 3 entry, definitely want to prioritize the lefties. This is a great spot for Devers, I think. Let's go look at that pitch report for Devers since we are looking at pitch types today. Devers plus against the fastball, really plus against the slider. Jorge doesn't really rely on that quite, and a really plus against the changeup. He's got plus grades against everything but the cutter. So not extremely plus though, just a little bit above average. We did just get this Reds lineup, so if you guys want to back up just a second to dot some T's and cross some I's. We got Senzel leading off, Winker, Castellanos, Moustakas. Tyler Naquin is batting 5th. Initially had him batting 6th, so another lefty a little bit higher. Eugenio Suarez moves down. They basically flopped based on the projected lineup. Kyle Farmer and everything else is normal. So the lineup is the same. It was just a swap between Naquin and Suarez on batting order. Fading Boston, at least the usual suspects, so naturally they'll go ham. I can't get them nor Houston right. Michael Chavis, thank you. So I would say if you're playing the leverage game, if we anticipate Boston to be the highest owned, that's ultra leverage on a short slate. It's hard to I'm fine with turning these slates into game theory slates rather than statistical process slates. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a wrong approach. But I definitely I couldn't see myself having no Boston, right? If I didn't want to dedicate a stack, sure, but I can't see how I wouldn't love some Devers. Just looking at the bomb rating for Devers, he's got a 4.22 rating. If I look at the whole slate, God dang, Bregman. Okay, the Astros are at the top, but I think there's some funky stuff going on with the Astros opposing pitcher. I think it might have supposed to have been an Ohtani because the sites had him listed as a pitcher today, not a playable bat. But let's move on to the next game here. Oh, Orioles. Guys, maybe the Orioles are sleeping right in front of us, and we just don't give them the time of day. Trey Mancini can hit lefties. Pedro Severino, Maikel Franco, Ryan Mountcastle. These are all guys that hit for a decent average against lefties. They're not going to break the bank. Trey Mancini will, but he's talented. Slugs 540 against lefties over the course of the last 2 seasons. They don't have a ton of strikeout potential against a lefty, and it's a contact lefty anyway. Martin Perez has been allowing the ball to get off the ground a little bit more so far this season, and versus the larger sample size years 2019, 2018, where he was at 48, 46%. Right now he's hovering around 40% since the beginning of last year. So the ball's being elevated a little bit more, and he's allowing a larger amount of line drives, a 28.6% line drive rate. Line drive rates being the hardest to field out of all of the contact batted ball event types, because it's boom, quick line drive, usually the highest velocity as well. So it might be another spot where home run may not necessarily be king today, but if we get a couple of guys that get on base with a pair of doubles, and a guy like Mancini does go Yabo, I'll take it. Martin Perez, to his credit, has not allowed a ton of home runs to either side of the plate so far this year, but like I said, line drive rate, high average allowed, and he's a strike thrower. I'd take some chances on the Orioles if they come out righty heavy. Curious to see if they are committed to leading off the lefty Mullins, former switch hitter Mullins, against the lefty. I feel like it would make too much sense to lead off with one of your better righties, but we'll see. Pat Valaika also slugs over 500 against lefties. This may be Coors influenced, but we have seen Valaika flex a little bit of power earlier this season. So again, not an inspiring full stack that you feel warm and fuzzy about, but against Martin Perez, we probably grab some bats to chip at a chair, the contact, the ability, because Martin Perez is going to dare you to make contact. Let's see what you guys got in chat. Reds are horrible away from Great American Small Park. Mullins has been white hot. Reds are horrible away from Great American Small Park. Yes. Same with the Blue Jays, right? So I would not let small, I don't want to say small, but nuances like that sway my approach today, just because of how short the slate is, right? I mean, we're going to be dealing with Minute Maid, Chase, and Oracle coming up. So there's got to be a range of outcomes near 20% for that park to have tournament winners, right? Maybe not the stack, but people in that game. But also just to quantify that statement, and if you guys are wondering how we would do that, I would go to team stats and would split it home and away, and would probably just keep an eye on WRC plus. So one of the things that I spotted the other day was that the Blue Jays were like number 1 in WRC plus at home and nearly last, or like bottom 5 on the road. So Cincinnati number 1 in WRC plus at home this season. So naturally they're going to be worse on the road. Same with Toronto. Houston's also 3rd, and Houston does play at home today. So we flip that, put it on the road. WRC plus. Best road team, Minnesota. But Cincinnati definitely tumbles here. They become the worst team in the league on the road. So good call there. And then Toronto still bottom 10. So home cooking does matter for some of these teams and ballparks. But with that said, like I can't let myself write off a guy like Jesse Winker or something like that just based on the matchup. But yes, they are definitely more effective from a real life and fantasy standpoint in the Great American Ballpark. Anything else, chat, before we get on to the next game? One off from Bregman, solid 5 DK points. I think like I said, I think the Red Sox will be one of the highest owned, but the Astros got to be, if not number 2, they could be number 1 at the end of the day, right? Mullins has been white hot. Bread? What's up, Tall? Yo, Tall, is that a bread emoji? Just random bread? What's up, Chris? Or is that like a emoji miscommunication between whatever you use and whatever I use? I noticed that iPhones have changed guns to like water guns, so it doesn't look as cool when people say "What's up, gun?" and it's not like a Glock; it's just like a water gun. Angels at the Astros, next game on the docket. So this is the one that got a little bit funky, right? When I first opened the slate and I started grabbing names to put in the spreadsheet. So we do have Ohtani listed as a hitter. Okay, so I don't know what happened this morning, but this morning I couldn't get Ohtani listed as a hitter. So what we do have, according to DraftKings, I don't have anything from Labs, so I don't have a way to corroborate this. But what we do have is Jose Suarez listed as the pitcher here. It says the Angels recalled Suarez from AAA Salt Lake ahead of Sunday's game against the Dodgers. According to Hornstra, the Daily News, Angels manager Joe Madden says Suarez is, quote, here to help out of the bullpen in Sunday's series finale, but look for the skipper to stay away from the lefty. If the starter Jose Quintana isn't chased away from the game early, with Alex Cobb moving to the blah, 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 blah. So looks like Suarez is our projected opener, and it looks like we don't have much information on him from a big league standpoint. Hasn't pitched in the big leagues this year. If we go back to last year, we only had 2.1 innings of sample, so it's going to look really, really bad, and we've already seen it break the bomb detector. So I'm going to focus on the 2019 metrics, and then maybe we'll bring up MILB to see if there's anything that can keep us away. In 2019, he wasn't good. A 509 Sierra, a 571 xFIP, 164 WHIP. I mean, these are very, very bad numbers. So let's go bring up MILB.com. I think I just heard thunder. The thunder roll. And this is a site that I loved before the pandemic because it's essentially it's a poor man's Fangraphs for the minors, right? It's Jose Suarez, right? There's a lot of Suarez's. Jose. There we go. And the minors have only been running like a week, so I don't know if there would be splits this or anything to go off so far. Looks like he has a 38.57 ERA. In 2 games started, 2.1 in, or no, that's last year's major. So he hasn't thrown in the minors this year officially. So there's nothing to go off of, and what we do have suggests that he is not good. So I guess we just got to go for that. We just talked about how the Astros are the number one or our top 3 team at home. They definitely profile extremely well against lefties, and I think the Angels bullpen is I think they have allowed the most runs. They have a 3.85 bullpen Sierra, 2.42 home run per 9. Let's see if I can get a bullpen stats ranking. This should just be a plus spot all the way around. I don't want to end up overthinking anything about this matchup. I just like to have the stats, right? I like to back everything I'm saying up with stats. So, pitching ERA, Angels are bottom 3. The Tigers and the Rockies are the only teams that have a higher body of work ERA allowed than the Angels. So this is a dream spot for the Astros. Astros have an implied run total of nothing so far. I don't have a line on them, and I imagine when that does drop, it might come out really, really wonky and shape the slate even more so. Like I would not be stunned if they had like a 6-run total based on the information that we have so far. I don't have a line on the Chase Field game either. I don't know if you guys see anything that does offer that, but I don't have anything on the Astros, Angels, or the D-backs, Marlins. So, yeah, big spot for the Astros here. I'll probably stack away without any limitations. Altuve likely leads off against a lefty. I said it the other day, Yordan Alvarez, don't leave him out of stacks against lefties. He crushes lefties, slugs over 600 in the last 2 years against lefties. And I think he homered off a lefty the other day. So he's absolutely in there. He's locked in at the play right now. Astros, if I was running, Astros definitely be my highest on stack. Them and the Red Sox profile the best for me right now, but I think the Astros might actually profile a little bit better just based on the opposing matchup. Suarez looks exponentially worse than Jorge Lopez. It is gone. That's what we'll make. We'll make some bread tonight. I'm with that. Does anybody make bread anymore? Like, I don't think I've ever in my life baked a loaf of bread. But we've made bread. I don't bake bread, but I make bread. That's a bar. I'm not a rapper. Angels against Luis Garcia. So Garcia has a ERA that's a little bit better than his xFIP, suggesting maybe some regression coming his way. But a 14% swing and strike rate is very, very inspiring. I don't know when Ohtani's scheduled to pitch next, but I feel like it could be soon. But I also think I heard that maybe they were expecting like 10 starts and they might all be home starts. So maybe it's not going to be soon. But if this lineup does come out wonky with like no Ohtani, this definitely is a high strikeout potential lineup to Angels. Even if Ohtani's in it, he will strike out. There's the Ohtani train. Just Fletcher, up Iglesias, and Kurt Suzuki with a sub 20% K rate. So Luis Garcia might be a fun play if we think we can get around an Ohtani and a Trout on a short slate where, if you got the 20 DKP, that might be more than enough. Last appearance for Garcia through 92 pitches, so it looks like he's fully stretched out, 17-19 DKP. He didn't survive against these Angels on the 25th, but outside of that, like, he's put up of course his 2 bad appearances this year are against the Angels. 3.1 innings against the Angels, gets knocked around. 1.2 innings against the Angels, gets knocked around, but 1 earnings, 2 earnings. But outside of every game against the Angels, he's put up a solid return on investment here. So maybe the Angels are his kryptonite, but I would probably have him in my player pool. He'd probably be 3rd or 4th right now based on what we've talked about. I think we'll get to like Alex Wood or something like that as we go forward, but Molly's already in the conversation as a guy I'm going to throw so far, and he's probably the second guy I'm adding to the list, Luis Garcia, that is. So, yeah, I'll have a little Garcia, but I'll never not have Ohtani or Mike Trout or even Jared Walsh if they're in the mix here. Garcia does allow power to lefties over the course of the last 3 years and over 1.7 home run per night, so definitely a spot for Ohtani and Jared Walsh to take advantage of that. And then so far this season, over 1 home run per night against righties with a ridiculous 50+% fly ball rate, which is really, really high. And, you know, a guy like Mike Trout, if you're going to dare him to put one in the air, jump the Crawford boxes, just a 3.8% line drive rate. So with a low line drive rate and a really, really high fly ball rate, I am wondering what his infield fly ball rate is. So if you guys got a minute to humor me, there's a lot of Luis Garcias. H. Garcia. All right, we're going to check them all out. Which one plays for Houston? It might be this 2013 one since we have some sample size. He's a free agent in 2022. The Yankees, Garcia, nope. Padres, baseball. There we go. Astros, Luis Garcia. So, with such a really, really high fly ball rate, I'm wondering what his infield fly ball rate is. At 12.5% this year. So, all right. And a couple pop-ups. Can I break that down to righties? Infield fly ball rate to righties, just out of curiosity. If I go to splits. Because that's a really high fly ball rate for somebody that doesn't have a home run per nine, being really, really high. Infield fly ball rate versus righties is at 15%. So, yeah, pretty high. Interesting. Playing some Garcia, not going to touch the Angels pitcher, going to full stack Astros, and we're moving on. Marlins at the D-backs. Marlins have another pitching nightmare that's going to make the pitching pool even more shallow. Luke Weaver up against opener Ross Detweiler. Again, no line for this one. Detweiler, the projected opener, and I believe DK had a long reliever listed. It's Holloway, Jordan Holloway, who's a righty. So Detweiler is also a righty, right? Yeah. No, he's a lefty. Whoops. So we got to get D-backs here against a lefty. And then Detweiler would be the lefty, and then he's going to hand it over to the righty. So how many pitches can we project for Detweiler? 13, 20. So we might get 1 inning out of him, maybe 2 innings if he's good. He threw 2 innings against this D-backs team on the 5th. So the goal might be for them to get 2 innings out of Detweiler, and then when his spot's due up in the on deck circle, maybe they sub that bat out, and then they hand the ball over to Holloway. With that said, the D-backs lineup might be interesting because they do some weird stuff against lefties. If when the opposing starters are lefties, sometimes we see Carson Kelly, the catcher, lead off. And if that were to happen here, I'd be invested because I would get at least 1 at bat against the lefty. I think I'd take a shot on Kelly, who's not a bad hitter to both sides of the plate, but he's definitely a lot better to lefties. They did get Christian Walker back. This Detweiler has a 12.6% swing and strike rate, but he's been a little bit on the lucky side, a 4.26 Sierra, 4.42 xFIP, but the ERA is at 2.5. So regression's coming, extremely high walk rate, could get in trouble early on, and then maybe they hand the ball over quicker than they want to the backup guy, right? I do like some D-backs. The roof looks like it could be open. 85 degrees out there in Arizona. So when the roof is open, it does make the hitting environment a little bit more friendly and fights back that humidor. and yeah. But Pablo... Labs had Pablo Lopez listed as the starter. But everything else has the opener and the long reliever. Lopez pitched on the 6th. Says Lopez will now start Thursday's game. Okay, so that was Thursday's game. So I don't... I think I'm trusting DK here. Maybe that's why I don't have a Vegas total, because there's not certainty on who's pitching. Has anybody else seen anything different? Is FanDuel showing Pablo Lopez? Or is anybody else showing? I'm going to go with MLB.com, I guess. I'll put it on the second screen so I don't get copyrighted. Preview. Because, like, if Pablo Lopez was going to actually start, like, he's somebody I wouldn't have zero of. It's definitely not like a ace or anything like that. See, MLB.com doesn't have an official starter either, so I'm going to trust DK here on the analysis, but I guess be advised that this isn't a lock to be this way, and if Lopez does end up starting, so if I type Pablo Lopez in here, you'll see his stats pop up. So his Sierra and xFIP on this slate is probably worth taking a shot at. He's definitely somebody that I do prefer at home in Miami. But I wouldn't have none of this on this slate, right? So if Lopez did play, I'd have a little bit of Lopez at like maybe 15% cap or something like that. But if he's not the starter, if they do Detweiler to the long opener or long reliever, I'd be on some D-back stack. I still have Astros and Red Sox number 1, number 2, no matter what. But with the roof open, Chase Field becomes a little bit more appealing. Luke Weaver, by the way, is pitching for the D-backs for sure. 4.32 Sierra, 4.28 xFIP. ERA is above that stuff, so he's actually getting more unlucky than he is. But he's often overvalued. Him and, like, Nick Pivetta always get more traction than they deserve. Like, Luke Weaver's 9K. Why? He's not good. And a lot of people might just play him because they have the preconceived notion, like, Marlins are bad. I pitched this guy against a bad team. That's really a dangerous line to walk. And we've seen that kind of burn a lot of people lately, especially with, like, the Tigers, right? The Tigers are the highest strikeout team, one of the worst, WRC plus teams, stuff like that. And we've seen them burn some average to below average pitchers. So I really don't think like that when it comes to pitchers. So I probably don't get on Luke Weaver if I see his ownership being anything of significance, being like, even if he got to like 20%, like I don't see any redeeming qualities in these stats for me to get there on him. And he does allow a power to both sides of the plate so far. So if the roof's popped open, the Marlins might actually be a fun sub-stack to sprinkle in with some of these higher-end stacks. And let's move on to the last game of the slate. Giants hosting the Rangers. Kyle Gibson taking on Alex Wood. So I do think this is probably my favorite game to stack pitching from. I mean, fire these two guys at each other and maybe pick up the win. The only pushback I have here on Kyle Gibson is this Giants lineup will probably be way more lefty heavy than your typical lineup. I got Mike Tauchman, former Yankee great, Mike Yastrzemski, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, Steven Duggar, all projected in the lineup, all batting from the left side of the plate. And Kyle Gibson's strikeout numbers are dramatically reduced versus the left side of the plate than the right side. So I got him at sub 16% K rate to lefties, whereas against righties, he's at 25+%. So this is very Dylan Bundy-esque, right? We like him against a righty-heavy lineup, not so much against lefties. So because of that, if this lineup came out even more lefty-heavy, I might really taper my expectations if I see him going over-owned on that regard. But nonetheless, like, is he in a spot to get absolutely destroyed? Probably not. Against lefties, still doesn't allow a high average, hasn't allowed a homer to a lefty, just a big ground ball guy, and that's fine too. As long as you're not wasting pitches, and you get these lefties to ground out, go for it. But in terms of strikeout hunting, maybe his total strikeouts aren't where we're going to want them to be, but I do, as long as he doesn't die, like if he can go 6 innings here, maybe 5-6 strikeouts, like that might be good enough on this slate to be a top 2 guy. and be a DraftKings play at 8,600. So I do like Kyle Gibson. Firing back with Alex Wood is a decision that I'm still not comfortable with, but so far so good for Alex Wood. The last 2 seasons of sample size for Alex Wood have been horrendous. Over 4 Sierra, 4.4 xFIP, 5.72 xFIP the last 2 years, but so far so good this year. Sierra's at 302, xFIP under 3. 13% swinging strike rate, and the ground ball rate very, very elite. Kind of reverse splits going on, a sub 10% K rate to lefties, with a 31% K rate to righties. But we do expect a positive regression, right? Progression against lefties, as he struck out lefties nearly 30% last year. We got to check out that pitch report. This might be somebody we isolate to just this season in terms of pitch report. Overall, I've got fastball, curveball, changeup, and that curveball being extremely plus pitch for him, 84.5 mile an hour, 32.4% usage. So with that in mind, let's go isolate to just this season and see if his pitch mix and pitch grades have elevated that much more this season for him to profile as well as he's profiling so far. So we're going to go pitch type on Alex Wood, and I want to do that. We'll do that in the game log. Pitch type. So curveball. Some games he was throwing that curveball almost 40% of the time, and the curveball is projected pretty well. Pitch value on the curveball this year, it's almost 7, almost 8 in the Miami games. Coors didn't go well, but the altitude, it'll eat the breaking balls a little bit more. But the fastball's been a negative pitch. Well, that was a negative pitch in Coors. So, yeah, that curveball is really getting them by. So, against the Rangers are already a team that are pretty weak against lefties. A lot of potential strikeouts, especially in the middle of that lineup. Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Joey Gallo. Outside of that, there's actually, if this lineup comes out like this projected, Isaiah Kiner for left with Nick Solak. Chris Davis is back. He debuted with a pinch hit the other day. He might start today. Culberson. It's actually a lineup that doesn't strike out as much as you might think. They do lose the DH going into an NL park, so Kyle Gibson has to pick up some lumber. And, opposing pitcher, we probably project him to be a strikeout in the lineup. So, yeah, maybe he could strike out half this lineup 2 times. So, yeah, I think Wood versus Gibson. Wood, Gibson, Tyler Mahle, probably the 3 pitchers I'm going to pull from. And then as I dip a little bit lower, I could see myself land on some Luis Garcia. And if I was really stretching 100, 150 lineups, maybe we dip into like 7-3 on Martin Perez and hoping he's eating 6 innings and gets to like 14, 16 DKP, but definitely not a priority. That's the slate. I'm kind of surprised we don't have, I only have 1 confirmed lineup so far. I guess it's still only 2 o'clock. It feels a little bit later for me, but yeah. So if you guys got any lasting questions, comments, concerns, process questions, how to look up something, throw them at me. I got time. I'm probably not going to do a basketball stream until the playoffs because it's a coverage nightmare and it just feels like a waste of time, which is a shame because if I was more into clicks, I would do that. I will plug Prize Picks though. If you guys are looking for a fun way to diversify your daily DFS spend, definitely check out prizepicks.com. They are one of the sponsors of the channel. If you use code GUNDACKER when you sign up, they're going to match your initial deposit immediately up to $100. So if you sign up, drop a 20 bomb, they're going to make that 40. And they do have baseball. They have baseball, K props, total base props, stuff like that, amongst every other sport you can think of on the board. So the way that site works is you create a parlay out of player props, and you can play multiple sports on one parlay, meaning you can go bet a Steph Curry 3-point prop, Andre Drummond rebound prop, and a Tyler Mahle strikeout prop, and they have hockey, and they're going to have NFL. So it's very, very fun. It's kind of my loose way of getting access to like a sports book without having a sports book in Texas, right? Just to kind of show you, let's put the main display back up. So for instance, today, if we look at single stat props on what they offer, MLB pitchers, strikeout wise, Tyler Miley leads the slate in projected strikeouts at 6. So if we look at this lineup, and this is something that hopefully my K prediction model will be able to help out with. If this projected lineup came out, what I would probably do to kind of decide that, I would look at K rates on the opposing team. We like to see 20+%. We really like to see 25+%, meaning 1 and 4, and then just kind of like add them together. I don't want to share the algorithm that I'm working on, but essentially, I'm just looking at strikeouts here. Do I think there are 7 strikeouts here? It's tough. I think 7 is pushing. I think 6 is the perfect number. So I might bet the 6, and if I push, I get my money back. Outside of that, it's really rough for strikeout prediction. Another 6 on Alex Wood. But for the most part, there's only one guy that's getting you a hook, and that's Martin Perez. So even if I'm betting strikeouts and they push, and then I don't lose. But for instance, if we go look at the hitters, they allow us to bet hits plus walks, runs plus RBIs, and total bases. Now these are extremely variant. Hits plus walks might have a little bit more of a predictive value just because they are allowing you to count walks. There are sites that don't count walks for like total bases and stuff like that. So hits plus walks is fun, but anything over like 1.5 is hard to bet. So that'll be fun. It's kind of the most difficult prop to bet, I think, is hit offense stats for baseball, but they do make it more worthwhile for basketball and whatnot. Anyway, let's get caught up on chat before we get out of here. By the way, if you guys want to hang out before lock, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. I love the gloves here, but the bats on both sides can be sneaky. Rangers aren't horrendous. No, actually, the Rangers the other day, the Rangers and Mariners, they had me in like top 5 of all my tournaments until the Dodgers and Angels decided to drop 20 runs. How would you look at pitchers on FanDuel? So on FanDuel, I do like pitchers that can go at least 6 innings if I can get there, because I do weigh that quality start pretty well. If you can get into a win, that's nice too, but the win is extremely hard to predict. So on FanDuel, probably looking at pitchers that have 100 bullets in their potential pitch count. I think Miley could be one of them. Definitely think one of the pitchers in Oracle. And also, the FanDuel won't tax you. It's not an efficiency site. They won't tax you on walks and hits allowed. It's just earnings, strikeouts, and outs. So Kyle Gibson would probably be the guy with the longest leash out of those 3. Maybe Molly, but probably Gibson. I want to say Gibson 1, Molly 2, Wood 3. I don't know. How many pitches did Wood get up to? I'm also just not used to Wood being good. It is the Rangers. 81, 97. So it's got a pair of games at 97, and cores is cores. We're not going to overrate that. So maybe Alex Wood should be number 1. So yeah, any pitcher that I can kind of foresee at least 6 innings of effort, right? Just to give me a shot at the quality start. And then so it's going to be the same 3. And I think the rank is going to come out to opposing lineup. And since I don't have lineups confirmed for any of these teams other than the Reds, I don't want to give you the rank, my rank just yet. But yeah, that's how I do that. Folks, if you guys are on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker, DMs are open. You can tweet at me if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Otherwise, I'll be chilling at the desk for the next couple hours. And 2 hours before lock, I'll crank up the voice chat in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, looking a little something like this. We do have up-to-the-minute news and info from Bot Dacker, and then we'll discuss more strategy. And then before lock, you'll see us sitting in the NBA voice chat. Don't be alarmed. That is for NBA and baseball. So if you have baseball questions, you can sit in there. But we will be covering basketball as well. It looks like the Cavs are already rolling out a lot of players. So that'll be fun to keep track of and gamble on as we close out the final week of the 2021 NBA regular season, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, making part of my day, be part of your day on a Monday. And maybe we'll do it again tomorrow, huh? Anybody? Want to do it again tomorrow? Tomorrow should be a much bigger slate. It's a travel day for most teams. Tomorrow should be much bigger. And then you can catch me on the Awesemo MLB breakdown on Thursday, I believe is when I'm back over there. So go check that out, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.